Brodes Media.
What is going on, everyone? Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you guys so much for all the crazy support. I love you. Before we get into the show, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button as well. And real quickly, if you're looking to buy tickets to go to any game around NHL, NBA, NFL, you can utilize the promo code BRODES at SeatGeek's checkout page. $20 off. $20 off. I'm flashing a 20 in your face. Take it from me. Get yourself to a game. It's that simple. It's a no-brainer. With that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm so thankful for my friends, my family, my loved ones, and, of course, all of you that tune in to Brodes Media every single day, the ones that listen to the content nonstop, and even the ones that just peek in here and there and show their love periodically. Thank you, because without you, there is none of this. And for everyone who tunes in on 97.5 The Fanatic, I can't thank you all enough. You guys are the greatest. That's why when I'm ending Coffee with Brodes and when I'm starting a podcast, normally with that opening little 30, 40 seconds, I say thank you. I love you all so much, because I truly do mean that. You are the best. And what we have for you today is a little different, right? Normally, I don't tie a lot of teams together in one show, but because last night the Flyers and the Sixers played, we'll break both of them down kind of in this one episode just because of the holiday. I got to run around a little bit. Last night I was running around. I went to Sebastian Maniscalco last night at the Wells Fargo Center, so I had to DVR both games and then tune in and see what happened. Although I did catch pretty much the Sixers game. I caught up rather quickly and then was good on the normal time. I was home at a reasonable hour for that. But, yeah, the Flyers game, we'll touch on it all. We'll start with the 76ers, though, and they showed a resilient effort last night in Golden State. I'm not mad at all. I know people don't want to grab on to moral victories because at the end of the day, their record is 10-9. But the fact that I can't just pretend that they did not have the talent on the team throughout this road trip and just pretend that doesn't matter. I can't bang on the table and just scream. The only thing I'm willing to be satisfied with is wins and losses. Some might feel that way, and I can't tell you how to operate your brain. I can't tell you how to view sports, but what I know is I can't demand just straight victories nonstop, and especially with Golden State. Now, yeah, they had a nice lead. They had an 18-point lead, right? And they were rolling in that first half. Seth Curry was making shots. Matisse Thybulle had a couple. What did he end up with defensively? 2 steals, 2 blocks. Danny Green, not only was he 4 for 4 from the field, knocked out a couple threes as well. He had a couple steals. He had a block. Tyrese Maxey had a steal and a block, but he was also making outstanding plays. And throughout this effort, he's bringing on contact and finishing through contact, and he's fading away to his right beautifully. He continues to shine and show that there's a lot in that bag of tricks, and I can't wait to see him pry out nonstop. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this because I admire this. Now, I would say, I don't know if this is the normal pace, but this is what happens a lot with pro athletes. They add to their game. The fact that Ben Simmons and Tyrese Maxey have the same agent, working out with the same people, going to the same gym and putting up the same shot. Look at the difference in pace of growth. It is outstanding. It is outstanding. Now, once again, I'm not going to act like this is the norm where guys just put their head down and then automatically, hey, you need to get better at drawing fouls. And then within, it feels weeks, Tyrese Maxey is better at drawing fouls. And you got to do this. And then instantly, you're better at this. I feel Tyrese Maxey is going at an insane rapid pace that I can't put on others to say, be like Tyrese, which is why I'm so excited about the future of what he can become and how strong of a point guard he could be in this league. I feel all-star level, like he's legit going to be in that consistently. That's where I see his skill set, his demeanor, his work ethic. I thought at times he got picked apart defensively. If you have a mismatch with Andrew Wiggins, let's say, and there's times where you take advantage of that. Yeah, but we knew that that area was going to be something he needs to be better at, and he's going to have to work on, and that comes with getting bulkier in the offseason so he can hang with some of these guys more on the more physical level. You know, we understood that Seth Curry and Tyrese Maxey as a duo could sometimes get exposed. And when you're playing a team like Golden State, who is a fantastic team, you're in their building, the energy is going on a whole new rhythm lifestyle. You know, it's difficult to stop them in the second half. Their transition defense wasn't rolling as it needed to be, and things got tough for sure. But Turnovers happened as well. Even Maxey had a couple turnovers. I love how 2 turnovers is, I can't believe it. It's not 0. He had 2. It's not 0. Matisse had a couple boneheaded ones along with Drummond. And you have Niang having some brutal fouls out there where he's ready to go into the UFC octagon and kick people in the nuts, hit them with an uppercut in the chin, elbows bang to the right side of the eye, you name it. Niang's out there free for all. WWE Rey Mysterio doing the good old 619 through the damn ropes. So things spiraled out of control. But my reason of even bringing this up to begin with is it's just crazy, right? Rich Paul, agents for both, working out with the same guys in the same gym. And you can see the difference in jump in their efforts and in their game. And I love watching Tyrese Maxey every single game. Andre Drummond had some tough moments. It is what it is with this guy, though. It's crazy that 2 feet from the basket, he has that much of an issue. And it's funny, when he grabbed 23 boards the other night and he set up this team for success against Sacramento and they kept having that second chance opportunities, the amount of people in the chat say, we got to re-sign this guy. He's a start. I'm like, cool down. I like Drummond, and each year it seems like we're taking steps in the right direction. It started with Amir Johnson, and then it was Norvell, or I was like, you had to go to Norvell Pell because Amir Johnson sucked so much, and then it's the Dwight Howard. It's like each year I think we're getting closer and closer to what we're looking for defensively, but what we're looking for, I should say, in general, when Joel Embiid's not on the floor. But, come on now. There's a lot of ugly things from Andre Drummond to the point where people are wondering if Charles Bassey should get more run than Drummond throughout the regular season. And you just see whether it's defensively, not paying attention at times, fourth quarter, out of inbounds, what's happening here. I mean, there are legitimately times where he's lost. But yeah, you're right. For those times, there's also times where he's grabbing 7 offensive rebounds and he's grabbing 23 boards total and he's working his ass off on the glass. I have to be consistent with my message here and say it's very difficult for me to put an actual label. And whatever Andre Drummond's trying to do, if he's trying to set himself up for the future contract, knowing that Joel's not going to be available for all 82, which gives him a chance to prove himself. I don't care what happens for next year. I just care about the right now, and the right now is, he's playing a ton of minutes, and his impact, we bitch and complain about this, and maybe falling asleep fourth quarter, defensively having some issues, and not making shots underneath the basket. If he's only playing 10, 12 minutes, because we're talking about playoff postseason basketball, you don't need him out there for 30. The margin, of him to make those mistakes, there's not as much time, I guess I should say, for him to make that level of impact. Even though those 10, 12 minutes are extremely important, there's a difference between coming off the bench and starting. And I thought you saw that today, or last night, I should say, with someone like Danny Green, with where he's at right now. Come off the bench, kind of help out in that area. Niang got the start offensively at times for Niang. Whether it's just because he slotted in that Tobias Harris role, there were times where they were depending on him too much to maybe create his own bucket and try and get his own shot, and that's just not what he does, as he was 4 of 11 from the field goal. I mean, you can't rely on Niang to be your guy to create some buckets for you. It kind of felt like it was going to start going in the other direction once Jordan Poole hit that buzzer beater half-court heave shot. And it's funny, before it happened, I'm going, this is totally going in, huh? I'm not even saying, before they even inbounded the ball, before the ball even hit the court and the clock started winding down, I said, they're totally going to hit this shot, huh? And that's the power of being an Oracle and knowing that this team has the most electric three-point shooting in the game, and we've seen it over the last handful of years, and before Klay Thompson's injuries, it was just ridiculous, and there's just this vibe surrounding that energy, and he just kind of knew, and I thought that was a bit deflating, and you could just smell that the Warriors were going to wake up, and the Warriors showed why they are the Golden State Warriors, whether it's Seth Curry, whether it's Draymond Green. I mentioned Andrew Wiggins getting some buckets. There's guys in there that, were better than what they put on display in that first half. And while the Sixers exploded, they're also on that last game of a road trip. And at some point, you're going to run out of gas. Now, I'm not thrilled when you look at the fourth quarter that they only scored 12 points. They got outscored 30-12. That third quarter was a bit ugly as well, but you put yourself in such a good position where the Warriors were going to win a quarter, okay? They weren't going to just get absolutely obliterated and annihilated. So when they do win that quarter, where are you set up entering the final frame? And I thought that they were involved. It's just unfortunate that you kind of ran out of gas. You ran out of swag there at the end of this road trip, and I think it makes a lot of sense. They got outscored in the third quarter 34-23 as well. So, I'm not mad at the team. I actually am very happy with their fight. I look at them and I say, strong effort, and I'm proud of them. And I know that who cares? It's another loss to the loss column. Who cares? Look at where they are in the standings. Let me know the last time the NBA standings mattered on November 25th, on Thanksgiving Day. Actually, what I want for you to do is to go through the last handful of years, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and look at what teams maybe dropped off from the top seed to a different seed and where everything was on November 25th. And then go back to who won the NBA title. And sure, I think sometimes there might be a team that's in first that showed their dominance, and then that's what they were. But look around. I mean, you see teams like the Washington Wizards. And hell, you look at teams like the Milwaukee Bucks and their record right now. It's just way too early to really put stock in where the standings are at the moment. Let's wait for Joel Embiid to get back. And is it just going to be as simple as plug him in and then you're ready to rock? Or will it take a game or two for him to kind of get the flow underneath of his belt again? I'm probably going with the latter of that. It'll probably be number 2 as on Saturday. If he doesn't play on Saturday, well, then they have that home game after Saturday, and I believe it's a Monday, right? They play Monday at home against the Orlando Magic. So one of those 2 games we'll be seeing Joel back, and we'll kind of have to get back into the swing of things here. It feels like forever now. It's just been a lost feeling for us as Sixers fans because it's been this type of mentality. Show me heart, show me effort, show me that you're out there willing to compete, and we'll live with the results based off the circumstances. But over the last handful of years, it's been, let's go win a damn championship. Let's go win a damn title. So it's been a little odd for us to shift our emotion, shift our mindset. But I can't pretend, right? That's not what I do. I don't sell you bullshit. I don't sell you fake feelings. I shifted my entire mentality when you hit the road with this. Tobias is in one night, he's not in the other night. Seth Curry's unavailable. Danny Green's not there. Danny Green is there. I mean, what type of team can just instantly close their eyes, snap their fingers when that's happening, and then go on a road trip and come out with this crazy record that you're waving pom-poms about, and they're just nonstop rolling through teams? It just doesn't happen. This makes a lot of sense. So you're over 500. It could have been a lot worse. Now, winning this game in Golden State would have actually made me say, damn, that was a great road trip based off of what we had to deal with. Like, I would almost put that in the category of great if they snuck away with Golden State. But I knew even when they grabbed that big lead and they were rolling and Seth Curry was making shots and hitting free throws as well, getting to the charity stripe, and Danny Green was cashing in, like, it felt, okay, this is too good to be true to be sustainable over 48. What happens when the game runs somewhat settle back into place? Because that's normally what happens, right? We've seen so many damn basketball games where in the first quarter, the opposing team ends up knocking down 60, 70% from three. And, well, that's going to stop. That's not going to keep up forever. What happens when those players start missing their shots? You have to now execute on your side of the offense, grab the boards off the glass, head out in transition, and make them pay. Well, it was kind of exactly that with Golden State. They were down. They got out in transition. They beat the Sixers in that area a lot, and some of that was effort-based, and some of that is skill-based. Because sometimes I do hate this debate, and I understand it, but at the same time, it depends. It's a case-by-case situation as well, where it's like, oh, they just got out-compete. That was compete. It's like, no, the other team's that good that when they're working to their best ability, it makes you look that weak. It makes you look like you're not trying. It makes you look like you're getting beat and you're getting toast. Trust me, I think Maxi's out there and these guys are out there giving everything they had last night. It's just, one, the opponent is very strong and they make you uncomfortable. They force you into looking that way. And two, when you're on that last game of the road trip and you're thinking about flying back to Philadelphia and you want to get home to your family and it's the holidays intact as well, you know, there's an element there where it's like you ran out of fuel. You ran out of fuel. So it's a combination of everything. I don't look at last night and say, they lost me with effort there in the second half of getting back. I kind of acknowledge where they were and what's happening as of late, and I can just acknowledge that, and we move on to the next one. it's early stages, but at the same time, we're kind of getting into things, right? So you're playing that middle ground of it's no longer October. We're getting into December. Christmas Day is normally the day that people start to transition a lot more heavier into the basketball mind. So we're not there just yet, but before you know it, I know Christmas music's playing everywhere at this point, but we're not there yet. And we'll keep our eye out on this team kind of flowing as Joel Embiid returns and seeing what type of team they could be. But I feel it's impressive that they've given you this style without Joel. It tells you a lot about what they can be, regardless of the outcome, regardless of the W or the L, just what they've showed from a pure basketball standpoint, individual growth standpoint, team basketball, moving the ball around, good passing around, getting open shots without your bread and butter Joel, and without the point guard that's been running the floor for you over the last 4 or 5 years in Mr. 2-5. It's impressive. Like there's something to take from this to build off of, where you can see the strong suits of this team. Now, I don't want to give this individual too much of noise here. Not that he's already very well known in this city, but there was a report that's been thrown around with Howard Eskin about Ben Simmons, and maybe he's really, really hurting financially based off of some of his financial decisions in the past, and then the Sixers hitting him with the fines and him not getting paid. Is it possible that Ben Simmons is hurting in the pocket so much that he's going to be forced to show his face in a 76ers uniform once again? I'm not telling you I believe it. I'm not telling you that I don't believe it. I don't know what to feel on this based off of our source here, but that is being reported, and I find that fascinating. Not that I'd be surprised. He is someone who holds himself very highly, and I'm not talking about Howard here. I'm talking about Ben Simmons, although maybe you can apply this to Howard too. You know, Ben Simmons, L.A., celebrity, Mr. Big Shot, all the hot cars, all the expensive clothes. It wouldn't surprise me. And, you know, you'd also think that maybe they'd financially prepare once they realize, hey, we're getting hit. There would be some sort of preparation for this, but maybe not at the same time, considering all the avenues he went through to this point. Who knows? Who knows? Korkmaz stunk. I have to make sure I throw that jab in there. Stinks. Referees? Stink. How many times, though, after a basketball game, am I going to sit down in my studio and put on my notepad, the referees were not good tonight? 10 billion? Because that's essentially what it is every single night. How many nights do we go, you know what? That was a strong effort by the referees. That was a good call. Very rarely. Don't get me wrong. I actually think there are times where I do analyze a game that way. It's very rare, and I think that's why I almost remember. It's like, wow, did I say that? I'm shooting the shit with my buddies. We got our Miller Lights. We're watching college basketball. We're watching the tournament. That's a good charge call. That's a good charge call. After a couple charges, damn. All right, refs had it tonight. Maybe 3 times in my life, if that 4 times. It's so minuscule that it actually does somewhat come back to my brain a bit when I think about it. How about that? There's something I didn't think I'd talk about on today's show. So that's where we were with the 76ers, with their effort out in Golden State. It's just one of those roadies, and you get back home and you hit the reset button with your big man back. That's what you do. Hopefully he's back. All right, so we're going to continue and roll into some Philadelphia Flyers talk. First, let me tell you about DeSimone Jewelers. They are my jeweler, okay? I got my fiance's engagement ring there. I went back for her birthday. I went back for Valentine's Day. I go back for Mother's Day. You name it. They're a family-owned business located in Haddonfield, New Jersey, previously in Jewelers Row. When I tell you it's family, it's family. Will, Lou, Nick, Mike. You're not just a customer. They sit you down. They educate you. They learn about you, the person. They teach you about the clarity in the diamonds. I mean, it really is a great experience for you to sit down. It's not just them trying to make a quick buck and, hey, let me sell this ring, or, hey, let's make this ring. I'll sell it to you, and then bada bing, bada boom, you're out the door. It's, no, it's a family feel. They want to learn about you. They want to learn about who you're proposing to. It's just such a great environment. They work with you to get the best design at the most reasonable price you will find in the market. Custom jewelry design, jewelry repairs, appraisals, watch repairs, battery replacement, diamond setting, jewelry cleaning, and so much more. Make sure you check out their information down below. DeSimone Jewelers. The holidays are coming around. This is a great opportunity to snag something. I'm telling you, these prices are A+. You should have saw the face on my fiance when I went down on one knee and she saw the rock that was sitting on that thing. And guess what? So damn reasonable. So damn reasonable in price. Your jaw would drop if I told you. Make sure you go into them and say, Brodes sent me. Fantastic people. A-plus people. I will never go to another place again in my life. Okay, so with that, let's transition on over into the Philadelphia Flyers. They're on a little bit of a skid. They lost last night. They played a back-to-back, and I haven't talked about their Tampa Bay loss yet. You lose Derek Brassard in a game. You don't have Kevin Hayes. You don't have Ryan Ellis, and you get smacked pretty good on the road against Tampa Bay, where Tampa Bay just annihilates. And once again, they're not competing hard. This is what happens. So now you're down two centers. You're down your number one defenseman. And Nick Seeler has to play legitimate minutes. He's played basically all the damn games to this point. He's out there. He's screening Carter Hart. He's falling on his ass. You know what he is? He's a 7th, 8th defenseman in the NHL that should play once every 12 games. So 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 70. What's that? 7, 8 games a year? 8, 10 games a year? Maybe he falls in that category of 12 games a year. That's where Nick Seeler should be on any team's depth chart. Instead, he's already surpassed that because you're missing out a guy where he plays special teams. He logs 20-plus minutes a night. You can look at Ryan Ellis at 22 minutes a night. Lock that in, right? You're missing out. Like, no shit, they got destroyed by Steven Stamkos and Vasilevsky and Victor Hedman. Yes. The Flyers are not on that level. And I've been going back and forth with a bunch of people all over social media about this team because Flyers Twitter, it might be worse than Sixers and Eagles Twitter, which is just mind-blowing to me. This is the same team. No, it's not. They envisioned Kevin Hayes, Derek Brassard, Ryan Ellis, they did not envision not having two centers on your roster while competing against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I hate to break the news to you again, they're not as good as Tampa Bay. So didn't you know that heading into that game? Didn't you know that? So where are your expectations, especially once you're now down to 11 forwards in this game against those players? They're struggling to score right now, but even the worst teams in hockey can score more than the Flyers. This will end up eventually working out of itself. I guarantee you that. Okay, I feel so many people on November 25th are trying to demand or describe exactly who they're going to be over 82 because of this. And I just, why? Let it play out. Why? Why are you trying to describe them as this team forever instead of just watching their journey and see how they grow? Because they ended up losing 2-1 in overtime to the Florida Panthers with a resilient effort, I thought. Now, if you watched the game, you saw that the Panthers were clearly the better team. Now, I hate to break it to you once again, but yes, the Florida Panthers are a better team. So what are the expectations heading in? That the Flyers are going to dominate for 60 minutes? That's foolish. Now, that doesn't mean the Flyers are bad. They had every opportunity to win this game. And if this game played out the same exact way, if the Flyers were on a 2-game win streak instead of losing a couple in a row, you would feel differently about that. So I'm going to take away the most recent games and then study this game for what it was. And I think on the road, you lose. And first off, the fact that Ekblad didn't get called for knocking Joel Farabee's stick off to the damn moon, and then they score on that advantage because now you got Farabee with no stick in the defensive zone. That's abysmal, right? Cam Atkinson had a couple opportunities. He had one in overtime. He had one earlier in the game to score. Don't get me wrong, though. The Panthers, they were buzzing, beating Ivan Provorov and seemed to loose pucks nonstop to get some scoring chances. Hit a couple posts. Sean Couturier's clearing the blue paint. But the Flyers, I mean, that first line was rolling. Claude Giroux was rolling. And the first period, after they got dominated for about 7 minutes to start the action, Joel Farabee scores to stop it down a bit and calm down the pace. Flyers get a power play. They actually had a nice setup on that power play where for the delayed call, Travis Konechny backdoor on a bank pass off behind the net by G. He could have scored there. Giroux had a scoring chance prior to that. Then Travis Konechny also had one on the power play. Good puck movement from top of the blue line down to the half-wall area, back to the backside, getting a shot on net too. I thought that there were chances to win this game. Like, the Flyers competed against a team. No one has figured out the Panthers at home, by the way. No one. So do all the other teams suck too? Is every other team the worst team ever too? They're not playing the best brand of hockey, but they're also missing out on significant pieces. And not every team can just have the next man up mentality. I tweeted that out the other day where most teams won't be able to solidify themselves when missing what the Flyers are missing. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to get healthy anytime soon. This Ryan Ellis thing is serious. I think the Kevin Hayes one might be really serious to the point where I'm actually expecting the worst news possible, which is I don't even know if we're going to see him again. And then I'll be pleasantly surprised if there's an updated news that isn't that. That's kind of how I'm playing the Kevin Hayes one, because I saw that injury live when it happened, and I knew instantly, by the way, that his groins were kind of going, and the way he hobbled off the ice. I can't believe he returned for that game, but yeah, I don't see it being anything that is going to be good news. I'd be stunned if that is the case. But with Kevin Hayes and with this team, someone sent me the Tampa Bay Lightning roster and said, well, they're figuring it out. Once again, are you comparing the Flyers to Tampa Bay? That would be ridiculous. So your expectations are just off. There's no way that they're going to keep up this poor scoring for 82 games. There's just zero way that they do that, in my opinion. So for everyone saying they can't win this way, which is Martin Jones making ridiculous saves on Reinhart and flopping around like a damn fish in the crease with desperation saves and suffocating all pucks that come his way for the most part, there is something about this, though. You win with good goaltending in this league. Why do teams win in this league? It's pretty damn simple. They win because they have net minding. That's where it begins. Not many teams win with shit goaltending and they just score a lot, or shit goaltending but they're putrid in the defensive. So no, they win because they have excellent goaltending. And that is the start of having sustained success. So I'm not telling you that they can, like, if something doesn't change offensively, but this whole 1 goal, 2 goal, I think at some point it'll snap out of it. Their power play has too much talent to not be able to get set up. I truly believe it. It might not be the most elite power play in the world by the end of this thing, but there's no way they're this bad. They've been around the block for too long. Cootsie, these guys have been playing for so damn long. There's no way they can't get set up in the zone forever. So if their power play got better, you might not be screaming about their 5-on-5 play as much because they're actually executing and scoring. So if the goaltender is playing this way, Martin Jones and Carter Hart, and I believe that Carter Hart is as great as he's been playing. Martin Jones, I don't know, but if he's not a starter and this is how many games he's getting, maybe the lack of playing so much is something that will give him more energy to perform at this rate. With some hiccups along the way, like his last start being thrown in there, of course. I think that's inevitable, that there's a reason why. Because if he was this nonstop, then he'd be a starter. So, once again, expectations, then realistic expectations would be, yeah, there'd be some disappointing games thrown in there by Martin Jones, too, just like any netminder. If the goal scoring came up a bit, which I expect it to, and the netminding plays this way for majority of the time, is this something that you can win with? Yeah, I do. So this whole you can't win this way. You can win with great goaltending. That's actually how you win in this league. Yes, you can win with great goaltending. Do they need to up it a bit offensively? Yes, more than just a bit. But this is so pathetic and so brutal and so embarrassing that there's no way with this level of talent. And don't tell me that, well, they're just not as good as you think they are. I got you. I feel Oscar Lindblom's not as good as they thought. Scott Lawton's not as good as they thought. But Cam Atkinson is. And Joel Farabee is. He's just young and going through some growing pains. And G is. I love this. Giroux's been the captain for this whole entire worst run in Flyers history. He's the reason why. Oh, yeah, let's not be mad at Lawton. Let's not be mad at some of these other players that are just not producing. Hell, McEwen's your best player out there. Shame on you, Lawton. Shame on you, Lindblom. And at times, I love Cootsie, right? But there's been times where Cootsie's been playing an ugly brand of hockey. We're going to be yelling at G. It's the Bryce Harper thing. Oh, well, like, really, Bryce Harper? He's the reason why? Like, $330 million. Why are they wasting that money? Really? You're going to blame Bryce Harper for what's happening here? You're going to be blaming G for what's happening here? It's a terrible look. It's a terrible look. When you're producing at the rate that they're producing at, no, Bryce won MVP. G isn't winning MVP right now, but he was in the race a couple years ago with Taylor Hall and easily could have won at that MVP level. He's the farthest thing from the issue. Like, legitimately, the farthest thing from the issue is Carter Hart and Claude Giroux. So I don't understand it. It's just hatred for one man. It's people who have no idea what what a lead, like what a locker room captain is all about, because G is that 1,000%. Morgan Frost got his debut this year. I thought he played very well. He made some really good plays in the D zone, broke up some plays for sure. He looked solid. He looked structured. He looked like he was a big ball of energy out there. You should have never anticipated him to come into the lineup and just be the difference maker, but he can absolutely help. And another thing I saw, like this Twitter sphere is killing me. Shame on this organization for toying around with these prospects and moving them up and down. They're just so damn desperate, they don't even know what they're doing anymore. I'm sorry. Do you know how this league works? When you're down 2 centers, you have to look around your organization to figure out how you're going to fill those holes. This is what you do when that is the case. So it's weird for me and bizarre for me to be the guy on Flyers Twitter to be all rah-rah and pom-poms, especially when they're losing. Normally, I'm in disaster mode and picking this team apart mode. But it goes back to Andrew McCutchen in the beginning of his season. He sucked so bad, but he's been around the league so much, there's no way he sucks that badly. And what ended up happening, his OPS from June on was outstanding. He was magnificent. And sure, I mean, it wasn't his perfect season by any means, but he wasn't the disaster that he was, where he was dropping fly balls out in left field that hit the palm of his glove. That's how putrid he was, and that's where I'm relating this Flyers goal scoring right now. JVR is another name, right? Like, he's better than what he's showing. Let's go, JVR. Pick it the hell up. TK, these players are better than what they're showing you. They are. I don't know about Lawton. I don't know about Lindblom, but I do know TK, JVR. These players are better. You got to find that perfect mix for them. Guys like JVR and TK have to be playing with the right players. I think they do have those players on the roster. Now, some of them might be injured. Some of them may be hurt. But I do think it's there. It's just figuring out the combination. Everyone wants AV fired. Oh, their system. They're not getting... All right, here we go again. I'm not telling you AV's the perfect coach in the world, but this team's biggest issue is not Alain Vigneault. Their power play and Michel Terry, and that's an issue. And I think that that's an area that they have to clean up. But big picture right now, I don't look at this team and go, you know what the biggest problem is here? Alain Vigneault. And if you do, you just put too much stock in coaching. Once again, I'm not telling you he's the greatest coach in the world in the history ever. And in hockey, these coaches fly around and get fired nonstop left and right all over the place because their message runs dry. And there were some questions about his message at the end of last year. But to me, it stems deeper than just AV. Big time. The reason why they're not scoring goals isn't because AV is telling them to just walk into the zone and throw pucks on net from the outside right now. Because guess what? Cam Atkinson's getting chances. Morgan Frost had a play that got called off sides. Giroux. Like, there's chances with them right in the middle of the slot throughout this game that they just didn't bury. Did you watch the game against the Florida Panthers and say, you know what? They didn't have really a lot of chances. Bullshit. Now, maybe against the Tampa Bay Lightning, you could say that. But then I go back to, look at the Tampa Bay Lightning's D-core, their forwards, and their net minding. And then let me know if it makes sense that the Flyers struggle to put the puck on net in grade A scoring chances nonstop. This Flyers team's not perfect. It's just not as bad as what the Flyers fans right now are claiming that they are, which is a disaster, the worst ever. It's too early to tell. Maybe over 82, this does keep up, and then you have more validity to your conversation 4 months down the road. But I'm not willing to say that that's the case right now because there's so much hockey left on the table to figure things out. I want to ask you, on November 25th last year, what did you think about the Montreal Canadiens? Did you think they were going to go to the Stanley Cup Finals? I could make that same argument every single year. I'm not telling you that the Flyers are going to make the Stanley Cup Finals this year, but it's hockey. I've watched hockey enough, and if you've watched hockey enough, you should understand. It's just about getting hot at the end of the year. It don't matter as long as you're hanging in there and flirting around. Like some of these teams, the New York Rangers, let's see where they're at in 4 months. Are they still where they are now, or are they going to die out a little bit? Are they going to come down a little bit? Those teams are going to go on a 3-game skid, a 4-game skid, a 5-game skid. When they do, are the Flyers 3-1-1 at that point? Let's see what happens in Carolina. Because if they win in Carolina, or if the game's in Philadelphia, they win against Carolina, and you end up taking a point from Florida, is it as much of a disastrous trip as you thought? Which would be 3 out of the possible 6 when you're on the road in a back-to-back going to Florida to play the 2 toughest teams in the NHL, and then in your own building you're playing the Carolina Hurricanes? 3 out of 6 against those teams. Keep your head above water and let's keep chugging along. And if they lose, yeah, it's disappointing. It's not ideal to have 1 out of 6, but let's keep chugging along and let's keep figuring this bad boy out. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So, to be clear, I don't look at this team as a dynamite squad. They're better than what they're showing, though. I truly believe it. With that being said, we're going to shut things down here. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.